warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, best wishes for all of
This
us.
meeting is being
Om
recorded.
Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Let us praise the Almighty God for His blessings we are able to conduct overseas study program and Defense Management Faculty 2021 with the Management of National Resources for Defense and Security. Thank you for all participants to attend the session 2 today. Now we will begin session 2. The Honorable Dean of Defense Management Faculty of the Republic of Indonesia Defense University, Rear Admiral Dr. Kasih Prihantoro, SE MM Terhan. Dean of Defense Studies and Management Faculty of National Defense University of Malaysia, Lieutenant Colonel Professor Madya Arifin bin Ismail. Vice Dean of Defense Management Faculty of the Republic of Indonesia Defense University, Air Force Marshal Anton Iman Santosa. Speaker and moderator from National Defense University of Malaysia and the Republic of Indonesia Defense University. Lecturers and staff of Defense Management Faculty of the Republic of Indonesia Defense University. And all students of Defense Management Faculty of the Republic of Indonesia Defense University and Defense Studies and Management Faculty National Defense University of Malaysia. The honorable participants. The next agenda is presentation of Natural Resources Management for Defense Concept and Practice, which will be guided by the moderator, Colonel Dr. Guntur Eko Saputro, SIP MM CIQNR. To the moderator, the screen is yours. Before starting the session, we are going to read the curriculum vitae of the moderator. Curriculum vitae. Name: Colonel Armed Dr. Guntur Eko Saputro, SIP MM. Position: Indonesia Defense University Lecturer. Status: Merit. Origin: Solo, Jawa Tengah. General Education: Bachelor Degree Social Politik at University of General Ahmad Yani. Master Degree Magister Management at Krishna Dvipayana University. Doctoral Degree Economics at University of Borobudur. Military Education Military Academic 19 and 95. Parachuting Course, Intelligence Course, Basic Education Field Alternate, Military Teacher School, Advanced English Course, Battery Commander Course, Military Observer Course, Advanced School Officer 1, Advanced School Officer 3, Army Staff and Command School, Battalion Commander Course, Codim Commander Course, Domestic and Forage Duties, Operation Horizontal Conflict Maluku Tenggara, Operation Horizontal Conflict Maluku Utara, Military Observer Congo Africa, KMA South Korea, ELC Singapore, IDMM plus WG South Africa, IDMM Retreat Laos, BCA Malaysia, GKLB Malaysia, NADI Vietnam, and he joined 25 seminar and 11 scientific work. The next agenda will be led by the moderator.
Thank you very much, MC Asti Siswanti, Bachelor of Economics. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Lieutenant Colonel Professor Madya Arifin bin Ismail, Dean of Defense Management Faculty of UPNM Malaysia, Honorable Rear Admiral Dr. Kasih Brihantoro, SAMM, Dean of Defense Management Faculty of the Republic of Indonesia Defense University, Honorable Vice Dean of Management Faculty, Air Force Marshal Anton Imam Santosa, Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz Musa Kutty, all of lecture, staff and students from Nasional, IDU, and UPDNM. First of all, let's say thanks to our God Almighty that today, this afternoon, we can meet and sit together here with our safety and our healthy. First of all, I would like to give my big appreciation to Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz Musa Kutty for sparing time to give a lecture and knowledge for all of us here. And also thank you for all participation to join this forum. The session will be divided into part. The first lecture from Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz Musa Kutty from NDU Malaysia. And then the second is question answer. The topic of the speaker today is Natural Resources Management of Defense under the term of Management National Resources for Defense and Security. Before I give the floor, I would like to read short profile first. Dr. Norhazlina was born on 5 December 1978 in Rau Pahang. Primary and secondary education was in Rau Pahang. She earned a bachelor's degree in social studies in international relations and human resources development in 1998 until 2001 at the University of Malaysia, Sarawak. Education of Master of Social Science, Analysis and Strategy and Security Studies at the National University of Malaysia from 2004 until 2006. She joined UNIMAS as a lecturer from 2006 until 2008. In December 2008, she worked at National Defense University of Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur. She obtained doctor from the University of New South Wales, Australia in 2017. PhD research was on post-disaster reconstruction in the Aceh tsunami and the role of the NGOs in the development of participation and capacity in the developmental stage. Current research project in development of civil-military framework, coordination in development urban disaster management in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Now let us begin to the second session. Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz Musa Kutty, you have 60 minutes in the session. You may have the floor, please.
Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for the lengthy introduction. I'll share the screen.
Okay.
Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Again, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Norhazlina, as your moderator has introduced me. Okay, my topic today will be on natural resources management. Basically, I'll be lecturing on water security or water resilience. How does the management of water actually have impact on water security or water resilience? Okay, so basically the framework of the lecture will introduce a little bit on how do we manage flood, what kind of technology we use, and then how does that our demand and supply, and finally to look at the community awareness, and that also will conclude as the water resilience evaluation. So, as we know, Okay, water is a very vital resources, okay, necessary for human life. So basically, it's not only for personal usage or domestic use, we also use it for agriculture, industrial manufacturing, and so on. Okay, and the issue here is that is the quality of the water. Okay, so it has a component of consists of chemical, physical, and biological characteristics. So the main character of the river water is that it's supposed to be for human water supply. So for the water problem and issues in Malaysia is that according to Department of Environment, so a lot of river in Malaysia actually experience a loss of quality, which in turn affect people's health, the nation's economy and environment. And if you have been, we had an issue of right before the COVID-19, and we had this issue of Kim River incident in Johor Pasir Gudang, whereby the polluted river actually start emitting gas that causes respiratory problem. So if I'm not mistaken, more than 100 school, daily school was closed due to this. So the impact was severe. This is basically gas coming from the water because the river is too polluted. So we have spent a lot of money, and we also have a lot of process of getting some parties to actually help us clean up the river and so on. So this is one of the examples that we have in Malaysia. This happened back in 2019. It's quite recent. Okay, so coming back here, okay, the main causes of water pollution are usually just people attitude and lack of awareness. So if you have awareness, I guess you would not be selfish to actually pollute the water. In Malaysia, that was the issue. Basically, if you look at Selangor, the issue is that last year in 2020, we had a dozen of water destruction. Can you imagine Selangor is considered an urban area, okay, and also the water supply between Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, sometimes we share the same water facilities. So when this disruption happened, it's not only the personal domestic use, but also the industry, the factory, everything is affected. So this has been happening 12 times last year, despite the COVID and the MCO and so on. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that is the people's attitude and also lack of awareness. So the water quality modeling, okay. So the basis of water pollution control project is that we wanted to see that there is a environmental control, okay, and we wanted also to make sure that there is no dumping of toxic waste without being processed into the water, into the river, and so on. Okay, so and on the other hand, okay, we also see because Malaysia is a country that actually receives a lot of water, a lot of rain actually. So sometimes we have monsoon flood, we have flash flood, and so on. So actually, I believe that personally is that there is the catchment of the rainwater is one thing that we are actually missing in most developing countries. In a lot of developing countries, they actually the catchment of these, when it rains, right, it goes directly to the it just gone to waste to the drain. It's not being catched somewhere to be processed and be reused again. This is what I mean by rain catchment. Okay, so if you do not have a good water management or you do not have a good drainage system, it will actually cause a lot more problem. Okay, in Kuala Lumpur, basically, we have this issue as well. Sometimes there is a flash flood, whereby you can see this is happening in urban area, very, very urban area in Kuala Lumpur. So it means there is an issue or issues of management of the drainage and so on. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that if you do not actually control, manage your water, even during flood, it can actually causes you water resources management problem. So sufficient advanced plus warning system can actually save lives. So I'm just going to introduce you to this artificial neural network, ANN. So this is basically, it's not my research. This is a research done by a student, okay, a PhD student. this will actually share how to actually, this is just very brief, only 3 slides, because I'm not going to go in depth into this ANN, because this is not artificial intelligence. This is just how they use this technology. So basically, artificial neural network, or NN, okay, it shows that, the study shows that the reliability of water resource management by using this model, okay, to predict river water flow rate, okay. So it also, as far as adaptable approach that's suitable for river flow, and does not need detailed geographical information for the catchment area. This is basically a solution how to actually catch the water rather than letting it flood, okay, everything a flood. So its attractiveness is the ability to adapt to changing condition and therefore does not become outdated like conventional hydrology model. Okay, so this is yet to be applied in Malaysia. This research was done back in 2019. So hopefully this somebody will actually adopt this. This is a very good suggestion actually. The research shows that river flow is a better parameter to be used for early flood warning system, and it is more sensitive to rainfall rate compared to the river level, which is used in conventional flood warning system. So, okay, all right. So, this is significant contribution to flood warning system currently used in Malaysia, because we have a few, I think if I'm not mistaken, there's 5 types of flood warning system that we use in Malaysia to predict flood, which actually takes about 8 to 24 hours to actually predict flood. This is actually quite slow one. Again, flood prediction and water resource management are major issues when we talk about water security, especially in highly populated areas in tropical countries. Okay, because tropical countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand or Philippines, we have high amount of rain every year. Okay, so unlike in temperate climate region, just like Europe or North America, high resolution spatial and temporal weather data is not available in most tropical countries. We do not have this data. We do not have this, what we call as risk hazard mapping. So this is also part of my research I'm doing currently now. I'm working on simultaneous coordination for urban disaster management in Kuala Lumpur, whereby I'm looking at the policy, and I have other friend of mine looking at logistic assets, looking at the civil engineering, built environment, looking at the risk hazard map. So basically we wanted to create a mapping showing that where is to create this spatial and temporal weather data, and also to actually help us predict how to respond better during disaster in Kuala Lumpur, including flash flood or any kind of disaster. Okay, all right. So as we know, tropics are, as I said, high intensity and short duration results in a flash flood. Okay, flooding in populated area has also become a major problem, many different big country, and this increase also causes flood plains have increased. So means this also damage your agriculture areas. So why we suggest AN is that it has an accurate and fast adaptive flood prediction system that is therefore become indispensable as hydrology model become outdated and land use actually change. If you need any further reading on this, you can actually email me. I can send you this article. Okay, all right. So let's look at Malaysia itself and how does actually water resources management actually lead to water security. So, but water security in Malaysia is a national issue, because if it's happened in urban area like Kuala Lumpur or in Selangor, yes, it's urban. Because when you say urban means it's a high density geographical area. So in Malaysia, water services industry faces issues which need to be tackled immediately for its survival and sustainable. So we have to make sure that the water issue is being tackled, and then water is being sustained. Okay, because some states actually rely on recyclable water. Okay, and for example, like in Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, and Putrajaya, okay, we are actually relying for water from Pahang, state of Pahang, which is my village, Pahang. Okay, so I come from Pahang. So they have built a dam, okay, and from this dam they actually supply water using water tunnel, okay. can you imagine from KL to Karan, the area that we have the dam is about 1.5 hours. So this is how it's about 150 kilometers of tunnels. This is basically maybe the tunnel will go through certain area, but we can actually imagine how far it is. Okay, so they haven't started supplying water yet to Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, and Putrajaya, but eventually they will start. It was supposed to start early this year, but they stopped because of this last year actually, but they stopped due to COVID situation. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that urban area actually rely on recyclable water. Okay, so if you do not manage your water treatment facilities, if you dump toxic in that river that actually supply water to the water treatment facility, that will actually cause a lot of problems. Okay, so another thing with the issue in Malaysia is that the sectorial approach when they manage water. So basically in Malaysia, when it comes to water, we have 5 ministries that actually manage water. So rather than sectorial, we have to find a way to actually to look at the integrated water resources management, which I call it as IWRM. So this is still not so clear, because when it comes to water in Malaysia, we have 14 states. 14 states has it's under the state authority. Water, any resources management is under the state authority. So overriding state authority, because you cannot control the flow of water, right? Water can simply flow from Selangor to Kuala Lumpur and everywhere. You do not know. So it depends on how you catch, how you recycle, and how you manage your water. Okay. All right. So coming to the next issue is the supply and demand. Okay. So how we are actually developing country. So basically our supply management is very important. Okay. So and demand management as well. So for developed country, they look at water demand. From developing country, we usually look at supply management. Okay. So water demand or management for the environment can be also a threat to the need of sustainable development of biodiversity and high latitude. So basically, the very basic questions developing country will be asking is that you have done your portion, okay, referring to developed country, you have cut your trees, you have done, you do not have any land because you have developed, but then it's time for us to develop, why must you stop us? This is the very basic questions that should always pop up, okay? They have done their time 100 years ago and this is our time to develop, why must you stop us? So this is where the sustainable idea comes in. How do you actually sustain? How do you actually recycle? Okay. All right. So reliable water accounting systems are found lacking in this country, especially in the agriculture environment sector. Figures are still highly based on traditional assumptions. So water quality will have issues to water supply, and eventually the surface water resources is depleting, and both Sydney Peninsula have this issue. I'll share with you. So we have we have reduce, reuse, and recycle 3R, the option to surface water. And also we have a concerted effort for groundwater exploitation. Okay, so however, the problem is that with any kind of resources management is that we always have gray areas. Okay, so there cannot be there is no. There is no way to actually tell 100% we can actually implement one law. Okay, so coming back to the Malaysian cases is that different state has different water issues. Some has pollution issues. Some even have deforestation issues. Okay, that actually causes the lodge to be we need to maintain the lodge more frequently, means no water. Okay, so this is very difficult. This is why I said it's a very gray area. Okay, so basically, if you look at developed nation, the change is through stakeholder platforms supported by appropriate policies, rules, and also technologies, STI. But for us to transform from supply to demand management is a formidable task for developing country. So this requires wisdom, knowledge of all experts in water resources sector. Okay, so water security is something new actually. Okay, if you Google water security, you will definitely find they will be talking about the component of water, means how to provide clean water. Okay, but rather than look, there is not much of writing done other than UN Declaration of Water Security to see water as a national security issues. Okay? But eventually, if you do not actually really use a sustainable model to manage your water resources, it will eventually lead to national security issues. I'm sure anyone from Jakarta would understand this. Okay, all right. In 2009, the Economic Reform described water security as gossamer. Okay, and this is, they create a web of food, energy, climate, economic growth, and human security all together. Okay, and it will actually be a threat to national security if you do not really look after this web. So this is the web. Okay, if you look at this web, you have national security here, and in the middle is water security. So water is also energy, also about climate security, human community, resources, and also food. So this is the web. Okay, so if you do not ensure water security in the middle is being looked after, it's not a sustainable system, means it's going to affect everything, including your national security. So basically, water security also affects human health, ecosystem health, which eventually we will have issues of inadequate of water qualities and also quantity for human usage. Okay. All right. Okay, I think I have explained this. Okay. So the need for water demand, or what we call as WDM. Okay. In Malaysia, WDM for developed nation is in line with government transformation plan. This was done with GTP, launched in 2010, and the notion is accelerated to place toward Vision 2020. Okay, but our Vision 2020 is overshadowed by COVID-19, so we couldn't see anything else other than COVID today. Okay, all right. So the key essential of the GTP is to improve service level, deliveries, people first, and productivity improvement and performance now. So within this strategy, it's also goal for society to be scientific, progressive society contributing to scientific and technological civilization of the future. So GTP is the country's economic transformation plan, ETP, sets the ambition to country to be high income nation as fully developed. So we are talking about supply and demand just now. Supply management is for developing country. Demand model is for the developed country. So how are we going to actually transform ourselves? So these are the questions. So with the present state of water resources management in the country, will we be able to actually support the GTP to realize our ETP? Okay, is the resources sector prepared to respond to meet the need of the people to actually achieve fully developed nation? I will actually share with you at the end of this lecture what is the issue in Malaysia that causes water to be that actually, I will not say fail, but that did not create a deep awareness among the community. Okay, this is a figure I just wanted to share with you. Okay, to see low and high water management emphasize. Okay, you look at developing country, fully developed and sustainable development. Okay, and then economic development phase. We are talking about developed country here. Okay, so we have demand management and we also have supply management. If you're fully developed, it should be balanced. Yeah. Okay, and yes, this is water demand management model. Okay, high income. Okay, if you have this kind of income, exclusiveness. Okay, sustainability. This is a model that we think we can actually achieve when we are a developed country in future. Okay, so WDM again. Okay, so basically WDM means to reduce the use of water wastage for better management rather than providing more supply. So the idea of actually getting water from another dam or supplying it through tunnel is not actually a good idea, whereby we should be able to actually, because Selangor and Kuala Lumpur, for example, we have rivers, we have big rivers actually. But then due to the unsustainable development, these rivers being polluted, sometimes not even maintained. Okay, so the idea of actually getting supply from other places actually will not create awareness among the community. This is my my thesis. Okay, so if you look at this figure, okay, it shows that the demand and supply. Okay, if you look at that blue, is a total consumption water, unregulated flows. Okay, and then I can actually send you this article if you want. Okay, you can just email me. I can send it to you. Yeah, you will have a clearer picture of this graph. Okay, so what does it make sense to supply potable water to users who only need non-potable water in a water supply system? So what we're trying to do here is that basically the water system has always been supplying water. It was introduced 200 years ago, and due to changing situation and all that, some industrial area, just such as Klang Valley, which is urban area, Penang is urban area. Okay, the percentage of industrial usage is really high and close to 40%, but not all country has the same rate. Okay, but if you look at coming back to the management of the sectorial approach, okay, this is one of the reasons. Okay, we need to look for the integrated approach rather than sectorial, because there are some areas that you really need to go for sectorial approach, and there are sometimes some ways of managing resources you need to look at integrated approach. So in this, we suggest that the sectorial approach should be changed to integrated approach. So WDM requires commitment of sectors to resolve their inter-sector needs. Okay, so let's say water, science, technology, land, everyone has to comes in to integrate. Okay, results from the current WDM practice over a period of more than 30 years have not been encouraging. So in Peninsular Malaysia, the lowest, most successful non-revenue water NRW is Penang, 18%, and also highest is Pahang, because Pahang is the biggest state in Peninsular Malaysia. Okay, all right. So they have the biggest river. Okay. Overall, the NRW exercise will be successful. So one reason is that the current IS. This is I wanted to highlight to you. Okay. Sometimes when you set the water tariff too low, okay, water is taken for granted. Okay. If you compare in Malaysia between water and electricity, okay, electricity is much expensive. Okay. Water, there are even some states like in Selangor and some other states in Malaysia that actually give you free water for first 20 cubic meter. It's free. Okay, so sometimes when you give this kind of subsidies and so on, people take for granted, and it actually fails to create awareness. Okay. So when it's too low, uneconomic and needs revision, definitely. So low tariff does not encourage new innovation in water reduction technology, runs against the aspiration of great technology. So let me just share with you. I studied in Australia for 5 years. So when I was staying there, I realized that they have tariff for everything, even for the water, even for the electricity. So let's see, they have the high peak hours start from 8 to 5. So the charges, the tariff is high during these hours. Okay, so from 5 to 10, they have different tariff. Okay, from 12 midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning, they have different tariff, which is the lowest. Okay, so this they actually encourage the people to actually appreciate the energy, water, electricity. So usually when I was staying in Australia, we do our laundry or anything at night. We don't use it in the daytime. So this makes us appreciate the energy. Even though Australia is not a country that has a lot of water, it has the cleanest water in the world actually. You can just drink from the tap. Is that clean? Okay, but they do this. So I really believe, okay, setting the right tariff will solve a lot of problems. Okay, so in Malaysia, as I said, this is the issue, okay, and also the need of science, technology, and innovation to survive and prosper knowledge. We need to find the best way to manage, okay, the resources that we have. We do not want to wait until the resources have been depleted and then we start thinking what to do. No, we have to start think now. So in Malaysia, we are investing, putting enough in FDI. Yes. The question is the R&D. Okay, are we putting a lot of budget on that? And also, okay, all right. So coming to water security again, how does it have impact on human and national security? This is the last section. Okay, so water, as I said, is very essential. So the issue is that there is many agencies and ministry involved. Okay, the sectorial part I was explaining, we need to integrate that. And then we need a smooth coordination. Yes, this is the most important thing among the ministry. Okay, the issue of water safety should be given priority in area of environmental safety, and also the resources in Malaysia should now gradually become polluted, unavailable to the human industrial activity. This is the main threat actually to water in Malaysia. So it's becoming a worry in aspect of security, specifically human security. So if you look at what happened in Sungai Kim, Pasir Gudang, Johor is actually an industrial area. Okay, at the first time I was thinking that if it's the industrial area, there should not be much of a housing or settlement. But when you heard there is more than 100 schools closed around the area due to this gas emission from the water, the river, that shows that the area is highly urbanized, high density. Okay, so this actually makes you think about human security. Okay, so we have to balance between development and also development is important, but also at the same time, you cannot actually have make us threat us or make us feel insecure. Okay, all right. So national security here embraces human security, where we actually talk about human sustainability. Okay, so the definition of security depends on how we define the threat. So, like what Prof. Norhazlina was saying earlier this morning, yes, it's right. When you wanted to see what is your security, the first thing is that you have to look at your threat. So it has to be very current. Okay, if today if you wanted to go and talk about security issues in South China Sea, nobody wanted to see that. Everybody says to us, even Ministry of Defense of Singapore, when we had a talk in April, even they were saying that they're focusing at HDR, why they are looking at COVID-19 as the main threat. Okay, so threat will define what is your security preparedness. So the issue of water supply disruption caused by pollution, the water sources is a threat to survival of life, which disrupt the causes daily activities at all level of society, and also disrupt socio-economic system. So my thesis is that my idea is that public awareness is very important in preventing water pollution. Okay, if you do not have awareness, okay, you cannot create. It's difficult for you to reach whatever you call as water security or water resilience. Okay, so in Malaysia, it's more of an awareness of the community itself, ensuring the continuity of clean water supply is granted. Self-interest is the main cause of water pollution that lead to water destruction in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. For example, I already mentioned this. In 2020, we have 12 incidents of water supply destruction due to unprocessed toxic waste into the main river that actually supply water to the water treatment facilities. So we should be thinking about, rather than personal security, we should be thinking about societal security and human security as at stake here. So water supply pollution affect water governance, where the frequency of pollution means more money will be spent. Yes, cleaning one river, example like Kkln River, take billions. Okay, so rather than spending billions on filling a river, we should be able to do something else with that amount of budget. Okay, so in addition to distracting the survival of the community, pollution also causes a large of budget to be spent by the government to clean up the place. So clean up for Kim and Langat River that I can think of. Yes, okay, this is the Kim River I mentioned earlier. So what I also believe that government action to implement the existing law and also how to actually create public awareness to tell them if I don't get my water today, what is the reason? They have to think, kenapa tak ada air? Bukannya setakat fikir, oh ini dah biasa dah hari-hari tak ada air. No, they have to think. Bila tak ada air tu kena creatively think kenapa tak ada air. Okay, because I have some area in Pahang that actually supply, that is very close to that dam, going to supply water to Kuala Lumpur. Rau have water issues all the time. This is the district that actually have this dam, the big dam that supply water to Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, and Putrajaya. Okay, so we have to start think of other issues as well. I'm not saying because they took our water, we do not have water. They have other issues of deforestation and so on in Rau 7. Okay, so public awareness is very, very important. And scholarly writing is also important to create awareness rather than just writing on the surface, rhetorical. You should be writing something on substance to create the awareness. So it must be handled well by the law and applied comprehensively. Okay, nobody is being given any discount when it comes to applying this law. So the water resources in Malaysia must be protected. Okay, Selangor, I have mentioned this already. Okay, recycle. We rely on water, recycle water sources. Okay, so destruction is a problem to us. Okay, all right. Yes, this is the dam I was telling you earlier. Okay. Okay. Even though we are supplying water to Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, and Putrajaya, we are experiencing high water destruction every now and then. So the problem here is that the river has been blocked to use water sources for the dam, but then eventually we cannot rely on the river anymore. Okay, so the deforestation, okay, the soil sediment from the deforestation causes the water treatment to be clogged, and the plant maintenance work causes water supply disruption, effect on the community. So I'm actually doing a research on this as well, which hopefully I would have a operational research grant with Unhan, USK, Bandar Aceh, and also UPNM. Inshallah, next year. Okay, I'm doing a research on this, on water. Okay. Right. So if you look at water problem in how you deal with the problem, if you look at Selangor and Pahang, okay, the shortcoming of water management, the law, and the most importantly is the enforcement. Okay. So the question is that to what extent the law and regulation related to water are able to stop water pollution committed by this responsible individual and parties. How do we actually do this? Okay, and do the existing law able to curb the water pollution? Okay, and then how does the enforcement of this law should be given special attention to curb the water problem and occurrence due to water pollution in many nations? So basically, I'm suggesting here that how should we be looking at the water to the enforcement of this law related to water crime, water-related crime, to ensure there is no more water destruction. Okay, so the security, the water security should be considered as a threat, especially threat to community and community that threaten the socio-economic viability of the local community. So when the relevant aspects of human safety are at stake, when discussing about water safety, here the individual security, communal security, and national environment security are at stake. Okay, so this is, I just wanted to share some fact. Okay, why does the water pollution happen in Pahang? Okay, there is three water treatment facilities: Sungai Bilut, Sungai Semantan, and Sungai Klang. They always forced to have unscheduled water destruction because of the sediment from the deforestation. Okay, so these are the problem they are facing. Okay, this is the reason why I suggest this as part of my collaboration research plan with UNHAN and USK and UPenn. Okay, all right. So Last not least, okay, Malaysia is a rich water resources country, and yes, development is important, but then if you have issues such as water destruction, water shortage, and so on, that actually disrupt your socio-economic activities, how can you actually ensure development is actually, your development is sustainable? So the water supply situation for the country changed from relative abundance to one of scarcity. So Malaysia has been facing water scarcity with insufficient water resources to meet the balance increasing water demand, especially in urbanized and developed areas. Okay, and also because of the condition of the climate, as I was mentioning earlier. Okay, all right. Water stress, on the other hand, is increasing due to number of population and socio-economic development. Okay, so basically, numerous of water shortages, water pollution, demand from time to time, frequent unscheduled repair works, upgrading of changing of assets, the current inadequate water network is all the reason why we have water issue or water security in Malaysia. So yeah, weather can be a reason as well. Okay, for example, extreme hot weather in Pahang, where it reached to the level of dangerous, whereby the water reserve was dangerous. Okay, it means that it's not much of a rain due to El Nino phenomenon. El Nino can be severe 3 months, okay, of very little rain. Okay, in Kuala Lumpur or Klang Valley, this water stress is due to inability of the water supply to provide sufficient amount of water to entire population. Okay. The water stress becoming more localized, okay, include relevant geographical and temporal dimension to intensification. So basically, when you talk about water stress, region by region, state by state, they are all different. They have different factors, they have different issues to encounter. Okay, so there are some research done on water stress index, okay, to understand the current or future status of water resources condition, okay, and how to sustain the water resources. So on global scale, the Sustainable Development Goal SDGs, okay, targeted 6.4 addresses water scarcity by measuring water use efficiency, indicator 6.41, and measuring the level of water stress, indicator. This is the ideal target of SDG. So if you look at our own, we can go back and look at our own target, our own usage, efficiency, and water strength, water use efficiency and water strength, then you should be able to understand where we stand. Okay, so as a conclusion, okay, although several studies has been carried out in Malaysia and a flood prediction system has been put in place, have proven to be ineffective in providing sufficient lead times during flood on the flood side, and then the actions has been taken in management of water reservoir and them also uncoordinated, and decisions have been based on experience rather than system based. So basically here is to create an integrated system, is to create a coordination among agencies, is to actually come up with one framework that actually will solve all the problems. So the river modeling again is a suggestion, technique that can be used to predict flood, okay, and predict the flow of water inflow into the reservoir and can be used to manage water resources. So there is no doubt that the provision of good infrastructure is to ensure continuity of water supply is important. But if you do not have awareness, community, okay, does not have civic awareness, then the water insecurity will be the main threat to human security. So basically, I'm saying that there is a link between how do you manage your water resources and how that the water scarcity, the water destruction, the water pollution will actually lead to water security, and eventually it will pop up the question of how resilient are you when it comes to water as a resource. Okay, I think that's all from me. Okay, this is my reference. If you need any of this, any of the information from this slide, you can actually email me. I can actually send it to you. All right, I think I give the floor back to the moderator.
Thank you very much, Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz Musa Kutty, for your presentation. We can see your material is extraordinary and enlightening presentation. Now the second session is question and answer. In this time, we have approximately 1 hour to question and answer. Because in here we have 3 study programs, so I can arrange the first one person from defense management, one person from energy security, and one person from defense economic. And then after that, Dr. Norhazlina will answer the question, and then continue 3 person again. Okay, now time for student. Maybe you have question, please.
Okay, thank you very much about the time. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, moderator and Miss Norhazlina. This is very important presentation, but maybe I just cut a little of material of the substantial of this presentation. Maybe my error is a little broken. My question is, what effort Malaysia is doing in particular in overcoming the limitation of water resources to strengthen its defense? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think it's clear. One person from energy security, please.
Thank you, moderator, for the opportunity. My name is Nimas Aljania, student of energy security. My question is, could you please describe how is the current development and existing commitments to achieve sustainability of water resource in Malaysia? That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mas. Now, one person again from economic defense.
Thank you, Mr. Guntur, and thank you for Dr. Norhazlina for the excellent presentation. My name is Darnis from the Defense Economic Department. And then from your presentation in the 4 page, you have been said the unpredictability in weather condition due to changing weather pattern don't only lead to flooding but also contribute to water resource management problem. And then my simple question: how is Malaysia natural disaster defense system to deal with flood so that the clean water crisis can be handled, especially about the budget allocation? Thank you, thank you, Dr. Norhazlina.
Can you repeat your questions? I didn't get your questions.
The last
You mentioned
question.
about
How is Malaysia natural disaster defense system to deal with flood so that the clean water crisis can be handled, especially about the budget?
Okay, you're talking about how does the disaster?
Yes, of course.
Okay, Dr. Norhazlina.
Okay, all right. All right, the first question from Defense Management School, right? Okay. You were asking about how about Malaysia overcoming water resources issues and how does it affect defense. So the thing is with Malaysia, okay, we have issues when it comes to domestic use, consumer use, industrial use, agriculture use. But we do not directly use water to as of per se to defense. No. Okay. So if I may actually answer your question, how does it relate to defense? I can actually tell you it actually relates to the lecture that I gave you earlier, whereby when there is affect the human sustainability, there is an impact on human security, then yes, it will actually bring questions to the national security. So yes, I do not know whether you have read or you have seen an example of country deprived of resources. Okay, there are some countries, I can give you an example, is our neighbor. Singapore is actually relying on Malaysia for water resources. Okay, so this, they are actually relying on us and we are selling water to them. Okay, many years since the inception of Singapore in 1963. So it's been many years and they will be relying on us for so many years to come unless they find the technology. They actually use STI, science technological innovation, to actually create or to actually, there is a new technology using water from, using the seawater for domestic use, to actually process it to become domestic use water, means supply for the population. But then coming to Malaysia, we are not that scarcity in the sense, but the issue is that the disruption. Let's say the last year we have 12 water disruption in Kuala Lumpur. So in Selangor, that actually dragged to 3 to 4 days no water, which means looking at the urban size of this area, we need to the particular company or the state company of water company management, they have to actually supply water to all this population that is disrupted. So this is a question of human sustainability, and also that will lead to human security, and then finally will lead to national security. That's how I see it when it comes to, if you ask me how does it affect defense. So water resilience is the final defense for Malaysia.
Good morning, best wishes for all.
Did I answer your questions or do you have any more questions?
Thank you very much, very clear.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, I think it's clear enough from Dr. Norhazlina.
Okay. So the second question, how does can I get this question again? How does development of water sustainability in Malaysia? Can I get the questions again?
Yes.
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 Okay. How is the current development and existing commitments to achieve sustainability of water resource in Malaysia?
Okay, right. Okay. So, what do we do to ensure water sustainability in Malaysia? Okay. We have what we call as the 3R, recycle, reuse. Okay. So we have a lot of campaigns by the government to actually educate the community. For me, even there is a big question actually in early this year in February when Malaysia was actually doing our budget. Okay. So the question during the Malaysian budget was on resources was that shall the government provide more infrastructure, means enhance the water facilities infrastructure, okay? Because we have seen a dozen of water disruption in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, so this issue was raised up, and I was interviewed during by the radio, the television. So they were asking me, what is the issue actually? Do you think the government should be giving more budget to enhance the infrastructure? I said, rather than, yes, infrastructure is important, but even though you have you enhance the infrastructure, but if the community preparedness or the community awareness is not there, then it will not actually would not give you a good sustainability of your resources. Okay, so there is I can give you a good example. Okay, in Brunei, they have all kind of facilities or infrastructure because Brunei has a lot of budget. Okay, so they have very good equipment and so on infrastructure for to fight disaster. But this infrastructure or these missions or these facilities failed to be utilized to fight disaster because the community awareness was lacking. So for me, if you ask me, yes, when you talk about water sustainability in Malaysia, it has to, we are actually in the midst of studying and creating a community awareness. How do that water resilience can actually create, community awareness can create water resilience. That is the what we are actually doing in Malaysia actually.
Very clear, thank you.
Okay, and the last one, the unpredictability. How does a disaster in Malaysia? Okay, the questions means you're asking, how do we make? How does the disaster in Malaysia, like flood, right? How does it actually affect our resources management, especially on the budget allocation? Okay, so one thing in Malaysia is that when it comes to resources, okay, so there is many type of resources. When you talk about water, it's the natural resources. When you talk about budget allocation, it's also resources, and it's the financial resources. So basically, in Malaysia, we do not have disaster law like in Indonesia. So in Indonesia, after the tsunami, you even have minister, you have department like Badan Penanggulangan Bencana. But in Malaysia, we do not have that. Okay, even during COVID-19 today, okay, if you want to talk about disaster, we are actually relying on certain SOP to actually handle the situation. Those laws that we have, we are actually enhancing. Okay, we feel the need that suddenly the COVID came and then we do not have law and regulation to actually handle. So coming to other disaster like flood, water-related disaster, yes. If you do not think of it now, okay, if you just think that that one dozen water destruction is just because somebody dumped a toxic waste in the river and it's just going to go off just like that, unattended, no law enforcement, eventually that will not actually create awareness. Okay, from that, okay, why must we actually waste money? Like in Kim River, we have to spend billions of ringgit to clean that river, and that river is not for human consumption. Okay, so it's a very dirty river. I think in Jakarta we have Siliwangi, right? So when I went to Jakarta in 2019, I saw how they actually clean up the river. Okay, so there are certain things. The budget the government spend for the cleanup or the budget allocation to clean up is actually high. It's not as we have one incident in Kim River, but I do not know in other countries they have even worse situation. So it means more money is going there. So the resources management is that. So if you manage, if you actually can educate community to become more aware, create more civil society. So this budget allocation can actually be improvised to do some program for the community rather than spending it to actually clean the river. So we are actually going in cycle. It's never ending, actually. Okay. So for me, if you ask me, the creating awareness among community is more important because if you have awareness, the government do not have to spend that much of allocation to clean up like 1 billion. Just imagine 1 billion ringgit gone to clean a river because somebody did something. So yeah, I think that will be from me.
Thank you, Dr. Norhazlina.
Thank you so much, Dr. Norhazlina. I think it's clear enough. The question and answer is clear. Now, the second session, 3%, please, from event management.
Excuse me, moderator.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Norhazlina. My name is Arum from Defense Management Program. My question is it the concept of cooperation with foreign parties is carried out by Malaysia to manage national resource? And if done, please give us the examples and the benefits. Thank you.
Can I verify cooperation between
Foreign parties
foreign parties means foreign countries?
is carried out by Malaysia to manage national resource, and if done, please give us the examples and the benefit.
Okay, this is a big question.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, second question.
Second question from economic, event economic, please.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead. Okay.
Okay. I'm from Eranwansa from Economic Defense. I will ask you one question. On the previous occasion, you revealed that the awareness of the community is more important, where if the community doesn't have civil awareness, then the water insecurity will be a main threat to human security. I mean, the issue of water safety in Malaysia is more to the awareness of the community itself in ensuring the continuity of clean water supply is warranted. Self-interest is the main cause of water pollution that leads to water disruption, especially in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. The question is, what has the Malaysian government done to increase awareness of the community regarding the water insecurity in Malaysia? Maybe the policy or the program the government, the Malaysian government do in the before time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Eran. One person from energy security.
Excuse me, moderator. Good afternoon, Ms. Norhazlina. My name is Ilza Utami. I'm a student from Energy Security Programming. In this occasion, I have some question about water crisis in Malaysia. According to Indonesian National News, we know that Malaysia is experiencing a water crisis during the COVID-19 pandemic. This crisis occurred in the state of Selangor, where in fact, on September 8, 2020, the Sultan of Selangor, Mr. Sarafuddin Idris, sent a letter to ask the federal and state government to immediately resolve this issue. It means this problem or maybe disaster in Selangor is so serious. Regarding in this fact, I have 3 questions. The first is, what are the main factors that caused the water crisis to occur? Second, what is the Malaysian government doing to solve this problem? And the last, what are Malaysia's strategies to prevent this disaster so that it doesn't happen again? That's all. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. First question. Okay, from Defense Management, Arum. Okay, from Arum. Do Malaysia actually consider the foreign countries' cooperation in doing the in managing our pollution or water destruction and so on? So my answer would be no. Okay. So far, like in what we have in Kim River, even though the effect was okay, a lot of people was affected, no casualties, but there was some severe long-term effect on health. Okay, I must say that. Okay, due to Kim River pollution in Pasir Gudang. Okay, so we actually have a very coordinated team. Okay, especially our military. Okay, the CBRN team. Okay, we handle the situation within Malaysian agency. We did not actually hire anyone from outside. So means we have our experts. Okay, we also have, for example, when we identify who actually causes, actually did this toxic dumping in the river. Okay, we identify this company, and the government actually demand this company to pay some portion of this cleanup process. The budget actually comes from these people and also some from the government. So the bigger portion of this budget actually is from this company that actually causes the pollution. Okay, so yes, this is actually I was actually very happy with what the government did, because this is a very beginning to teach awareness. Even though it's a company, to teach them awareness, you should be actually processing your toxic waste and then only following certain procedure regulations set up by the Ministry of Environment. Okay, if you wanted to dump the toxic, you have certain levels, certain process of processing of this toxic. But then not doing that, you neglected that, and you are paying for that. So in order to clean up that river, billions of ringgit was spent, and if I remember it well, big portion of this budget come from this company. The company that was highlighted, identified that causes the pollution. Okay, so I must say, in Malaysia, from the moment we investigate who causes it, to the process of cleaning the river, to getting it, it was actually reported in the news. What are the process done by the respective minister, and then what is the pH level of the river? Everything was reported to the public, to the news. Okay, very clear and very transparent. So basically, I would say no foreign company or foreign party was hired. Okay, thank you. Okay, second question. Awareness of community. Okay, what was the... Okay, when it comes to program, okay, I must say, all right, okay, when you look at the country, we have urban and rural. Okay, so when you're talking about awareness, okay, the awareness people in urban and also the awareness people in rural are different. Okay, I'm not saying low or high, no. Sometimes people in rural have higher awareness because we don't pollute our river. Okay, if I must go back and read, I'm saying Kuala Lumpur, and I come from Pahang. Okay, where the dam that was created to supply water to Kuala Lumpur, the 6 rivers that was my childhood rivers, and was stopped to create this dam. Okay, so we don't pollute our own river. The river was beautiful from the day I was born until they created the dam. Now it's lake, no flowing water. I cannot pergi mandi sungai lagi, tak boleh, balik kampung. Okay, so the river was stagnant. So we even though we are in a rural area, we do not pollute on the water. But people in urban, okay, they have, even though they are educated, they are modern, we suppose they are more civil, okay, but actually the fact is no. Okay, so how does the government come up with policy and program, okay, to create awareness? Is that I believe, as I said earlier, the problem is with the water tariff. Okay, water tariff in Malaysia is very, very cheap. Even the water we sell to Singapore is very cheap. Okay, all right, and we've been trying. We missed out one revision of the agreement.
Good morning,
and
best
Singapore
wishes
took advantage
for
of it,
all
and then
of
we
us.
have to retain the same price. Kita tak boleh nak reverse naikkan harga dengan Singapore. Okay, these issues has been lingering around in Malaysia. Isu ni jadi masalah sebab kita dah bagi dia air lama sangat dengan tarif yang terlalu rendah. Okay, so tariff is the main issue in Malaysia. So if I must see if the government wanted to create awareness, yes, maybe because in Malaysia, 14 state has 14 companies that actually manage our water. So each company can actually come up with their own program, system, tariff, and so on. Because in Kuala Lumpur, I'm sure the tariff should be different compared to rural area like in Kampung and so on. Okay, and as I was mentioning just now, the industrial water use are different from Penang to Pahang. So this is basically defined by the urbanization. Is it urban or is it rural? So when it comes to policy, okay, not much of a public policy has been done, but these issues of this tariff has been highlighted by many researchers actually. Okay, So I'm doing one of it as well now. Okay, we wanted to highlight, to create awareness, people has to value water. Like, yes, in Selangor, we give 20 cubic meter water. Let's say in the house, there's only 2 people. Okay, so 20 cubic meter is enough for a month. You do not need to pay extra. Yes, I'm talking about myself. I sometimes don't have to pay the bill for a few months because it doesn't reach that much of a usage. So when you give free water like this, it creates, you take it for granted. Okay, so any program, before the government come up with any program or policies to create awareness, the revision of water tariff is more important than revision. I hope I answer your question. Was it,
Yeah, it's clear enough, I think. Yeah.
okay, all right, Mr. Moderator. So shall I go to the third question by Ilza? She was asking, all right, yes, Selangor. Selangor. Some people ask me, kenapa doktor tak belajar, tak buat research kat Selangor? Sebab Selangor banyak water destruction. Yes, I get this question. Most of the time, kenapa tak faham? Okay, for me, in Selangor, the water destruction happened because tak ada awareness, itu saja. Okay, masalah dia bukannya, Selangor punya water management is the best. Selangor has the best water management company paling terbaik dekat Malaysia. Yes, I can say the best. Sabah, terbaik. Puas, terbaik. Tapi the awareness from the people. Okay, so coming back, okay, you were asking about toxic dumping. Yes, we had few incident dekat Semenyih River, which is a big loji untuk yang supply untuk sebahagian Selangor, and also we have Sungai Selangor itself yang polluted. Okay, and then the good thing is that, okay, kita you compare Kkln River just now in Johor. Johor punya incident tu dia jadi macam sampai gas dah start keluar. Maksudnya, can you imagine water dah ada emission, means is high toxic. Tapi in Selangor, we managed to actually detect the pollution tu early stage, belum sampai level yang tinggi. Kita dah sampai certain level, kita dah boleh stop. We stop the logic. Kita tahan. Okay, and we clean up. The clean up takes about 1 or 2 days. Okay, so far what we are doing. So how to solve the problem or prevent the problem, I think Kkln River set a very good example in Malaysia. Okay, I think in Selangor also we should be doing the same thing. Okay, yes, you are right. When the king or the sultans start speaking, means the issue, the people has been they're reaching the king and the sultans to actually channel their problems. So yes, to prevent this problem to happening again, I seriously believe what measure you have done in Kkln River to get the company who is responsible for the toxic dumping to pay for the cleanup. Yes, this is a very good measure. I think it should be applied to most countries who's having the same issue like in Selangor or Kuala Lumpur. Okay, if we do not start somewhere doing this is a sort of law enforcement actually. Kan? If you see it, it's a law enforcement. You are actually implying on these people responsible to do the cleanup. Yes, very logic and responsible. Kan? Like next time, you will think twice before you dump into the river. Okay, I hope that answer your question, Lisa.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Norhazlina. Before question from the student, we have a special question from lecture. We can see in the message here from Mr. Nugroho Adizwanto. Please give me question, please.
Thank you, moderator.
Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Dr. Norhazlina. My name is Nugroho Adizwanto. I'm a lecturer in Indonesia Defense University. As I wrote on the chat room that I have a question about the conflict of water security between Singapore and Malaysia. Actually, I visited several times the water resources in Singapore by the invitation from the Singapore government in 2016, 2017, and they show me the facility about the water desalination system, and they show me also the pipelines from the Johor to Malaysia.
The Lingi Reservoir, right?
Yeah. And they told me that it could be potential trade in the future between Singapore and Malaysia, because the Sultan of Johor mentioned that it's too cheap for Malaysia to sell the Malaysian water resources to Singapore with the cheap price, and Malaysia want to increase the price of the water cost, but the Singapore government they don't want the discussion about the water cost to increase. How your opinion about this issue, and then what do you think about the potential threat in the future, and then the challenge? Thank you.
Okay, please, Dr. Norhazlina.
Okay. All right. I must say thank you for this question. Okay, Mr. Adi. Dr. Adi, I think. Okay. Yes, I think I have mentioned a little bit on Singapore and Malaysia. Yes, as I said, we missed by days to renew the agreement. So Singapore kata tak boleh. Singapore kata ia dah terlepas tarikh, tak boleh renew lah. So you have to continue with the same tariff. So okay lah, Malaysia so give in. Okay, when it comes to the bilateral negotiation between Malaysia and Singapore ni, kita ada 6 isu from Malaysian side, 6 isu. Okay, tanah KTM, SPs, kita ada banyak isu. Okay, so when we actually negotiate with Singapore, kita akan gunakan 6 isu ni dengan water, air. What is the benefit? Macam mana kita nak exchange? Okay, so basically potential conflict, yes, but I think Southeast Asian country, Asian, we will not go to the stage of to create it to the extent nak jadikan dia crisis lah. Okay, because we have this good brotherhood punya practice between Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, anything within our negotiation, within our second track diplomacy, kita boleh we can actually negotiate and solve it. So coming back to Singapore. Okay, I know Singapore, Nanyang Technological University. Okay, they have research to pull up just like what happening from Pahang to Kuala Lumpur. Yes, the same thing. They have a reservoir, Lingi Reservoir. It's actually on the north side of Johor, atas sikit. They are trying to actually create a water tunnel. Betul tak, Dr. Adi? They're actually creating. I saw that plan because the previous Attorney General, Mr. Thomas, called me and he was in service. He wanted some of my opinion before he wanted to go and negotiate with Singapore. I remember. So yes, he sent me the pictures and all that, and I was reading. And then I was saying, wow, they have done research on this, and Malaysia is like, okay, we just sell water to Singapore. We have no issue. They are just saying that we are not really concerned. Yeah, some outsider must be thinking that, oh, okay, we see it as a threat. Yes, it's a survivability of a city-state like Singapore. Singapore is very small, lack of resources. Water is very essential to life. Okay, but coming back to the main argument again, I think we have maintained a good bilateral relation with Singapore all these years since the inception of independence, and I think everything can be solved on the negotiation table. Okay, even our Attorney General can actually bring these issues and then willing to sit down with Singapore to solve it. So that shows that how peace-loving country is Malaysia. We don't take it. But then the only concern that we have with Singapore is that, yes, they buy the raw water very cheap from us, but they sell processed water very expensive to Johor. Ini kami marah. You take our water, raw water, very cheap, okay? But you sell the processed water to us very expensive, okay? And believe me, I think tadi tahu kot, they make a lot of money, berjuta-juta from this processed water. Singapore make 3 times from the amount of the raw water yang dia beli dengan Malaysia. Okay, so it's like a business already. So these are the things that actually, kalau we are being nice to you, peace-loving country, peace-loving people, but if you actually manipulate us, you might push us to the conflict level. Okay, depending who's the prime minister, who's the defense minister. Okay, I think maybe this is something we can actually ponder upon lah jadi. The thing is we are being nice, tapi actually there's an article I can share with you yang tunjuk Singapore actually make a lot of money from this raw water yang dibeli, di process, dia jual balik. This is not fair to Malaysia lah. That's all I can say. Any more questions? Thank you, Dr. Adi, for your questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Norhazlina. Still have one question from lecture, Mr. Rudi Laksmono, because I see in the chat room. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Rudi Laksmono. Do you hear me? Oh, not okay. Mr. Rudi Laksmono, lecture from Energy Security, because you.
I think this question is from Dr. Adi, right?
Okay, I think it's not here.
Is it the same?
Okay, please, 3 person from student, from defense management first.
Excuse me, moderator.
Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Dr. Norhazlina. My name is Nivia Bayu Ageta, student of Defense Management Program. My question is, how is the development of human resources by the Malaysian government so that they have the competence to manage natural resources for defense? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is it Nivia? Okay, Nivia, for your question. Okay, how do Malaysian government actually manage our human resource management, right? To be competent to manage our natural resources. Okay, actually this question should come tomorrow, okay, whereby we will have session on human resource management and stuff, okay. But then I will just give some insight to this question, okay. The thing is, when you talk about human resource management, okay, there are a lot of it's a big area to look at. Okay, you are looking at good governance. You are looking at the pay of civil servants. Okay, because there are many issues among how you manage your manpower. Okay, so when it comes to how does human resource actually relate to natural resource, that is, you need to give me a case study or maybe a more direct question, okay, because what you're asking is very general, okay. I think the right person to answer this question will be tomorrow, Lieutenant Colonel Commander Nick and also Dr. Nixon. They'll be focusing on the HRM.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Norhazlina. Actually, tomorrow we will clear. Okay.
You can reserve the question for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, thank you. Okay, now the student from economic, please. We still have 15 minutes.
Thank you, moderator.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz. Good afternoon. My name is Andri, college student from economy. In water management, especially if there is a flood disaster, what advice can be given in flood management because Jakarta, Indonesia, experience flood every year? How can flood be managed to become water resource resilient? And secondly, regarding the need of the, thank you.
Can you repeat the second question? I didn't hear you.
Repeat again. Andri?
Okay, I want repeat. In water management, especially if there is a flood disaster, what advice can be given in flood management because Jakarta, Indonesia experience flood every year? How can flood be managed to become water resources? And secondly, how in Malaysia regarding the resilience of water resource in meeting the need of the population?
How does Malaysia water resilience lead to what population?
Of water resource in meeting the need of the population.
The needs of the population. Okay.
Yes.
Are you referring to any specific rural area or any state in Malaysia?
I think but the macro in the Malaysia.
It means it's
but
a big.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, macro, macro. All right. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So. Jakarta, Sungai Siliwangi. Okay, all right. I went to Jakarta in 2013. I did not see the same scenario I saw in 2019. That was different. Okay, there was this big water catchment in the midst of Jakarta city. Saya terkejut. Saya tengok tu. I was surprised. Then I was thinking, oh, okay. And then I start digging up. When I saw that, saya start baca. And then I saw the fact that Jakarta is sinking every year 10 inch. 10 inch sinking, and then that's the reason why you're moving to Kalimantan. So I understand. So okay, yes, you love Jakarta as much we love Kuala Lumpur. We have Putrajaya, but we still love Kuala Lumpur. Yes, I understand. Kan kita sayang nak tinggal tu. The way we got our independence and all that. Okay, so in coming to Jakarta ni, okay, this is observation. Saya bukan orang saintis, saya observe. Bila kita nak land ke Jakarta, you see all brown. Maksudnya kan, kalau you nak land kat Kuala Lumpur, you nampak hijau. Bukan salah siapa, salah tanah. Tanah di Jakarta dia tanah payah. Tanah payah means is tanah yang relus bila and I know in Jakarta the issue is that the water pipe system was not structured. Okay, so everybody ambil air daripada tanah untuk kegunaan sendiri, even big company. Yes, betul tak? Okay, so the reason why Jakarta is in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, we do not have these issues, even though we have tanah bukan tanah payah, tanah biasa. Okay, this is why you see Malaysia bila turun daripada atas tu hijau kan, because of the difference of type of soil. So okay, tanah payah when you actually suck out the water, okay, dia akan jadi relai. Dia tak padat lagi. So dia akan turun. This is the reason why it's actually sinking. Okay, so to avoid further sinking from happening, yes, I hope it's not too late to suggest. Okay, there is no research done on this. Tapi basically on my surface reading on Jakarta issue, saya rasa if the government, the Jakarta City Council ataupun Jakarta Water Management Council can actually build a pipeline system. Maksudnya you really use, tak kira lah sungai ke, or you use water recycle, process water from the laut ke dan sebagainya. to supply the water for the population in Jakarta, that will actually stop the sinking. Basically, I believe when you tanah, you keluarkan air dia akan jadi kering, dia akan meledak. That's the logic actually. This is not, I'm not a seismologist now, but yes, this is just my logic. Okay, so because I saw bila hujan takungan air Siliwangi tu tinggi I saw, and I was masa saya sampai ke Jakarta tu naik bas tu memang air tengah hujan. Saya nampak daripada semua sungai tu, laut tu memang nampak naik. So I said, wow, this is a big problem. And then I was passing through the same area again the next day. I was there for 1 week. Okay, so bila saya lalu lagi saya nampak people are cleaning the river, which is a very good, very good, very good. Maksud you are trying to preserve your river slowly. Okay, biasalah when you have urban area, river pollution is normal. In Malaysia, yes, Kim was the worst lah we had. Okay, and also Kkln River. Okay, yang sangat highly polluted. Okay, yang kita tengah cuba bersihkan dan cuba maintain balik. Okay, coming back to Jakarta again, it's basically about water management. How the government actually can provide proper pipeline or proper water supply. Okay, so it's all go back to the. I don't blame the people of Jakarta, because kalau you do not have water supply, macam you do not have pipe system and so on, yang good pipeline system, that will be an issue for your domestic water use every day. So basically everybody are looking after their own survival, betul tak? Human sustainability sendiri lah. Okay, so the government must intercept and play a role lah. Okay, but I think Jakarta had made plan to actually move kan, dah siap kan dia punya highway tu nak ke Kalimantan, right? Okay, so I think that would be my suggestion lah. Okay, but this should have been something that we thought of. Sebab kita belajar daripada negara lain. A lot of country out there yang, for example, like Dhaka. Okay, they have the orang punya underground water sangat highly polluted and toxic. Kita belajar dengan orang lain how to manage our water. So yes, in the Jakarta punya issue, I'm sure it's because of this. Kita guna bor kan. Di Jakarta in Indonesia banyak orang guna bor untuk ambil air. When I was in Aceh pun itulah isu dia. Tak ada air, they use bor to create a perigi and so on kan. Pipeline system, very few places lah yang ada. So yes, creating a structured water management pipeline system will actually solve the problem. Okay, I'm going to your second question. All right, how do Malaysia actually how do we actually manage at macro level for the needs of the population? Okay, it's different in urban and rural. Okay, in rural area, yes, you have a lot of river, you have a lot of other sources to go after. Okay, kalau tak ada air, boleh pergi sungai. Okay, tak ada masalah. Tapi people in urban, this is the big issue here. It's like, okay, for example, you're staying in a 27 level of condo. Tak ada air. And you imagine in Kuala Lumpur, most of it are actually high-rise building. Okay, so if this happen, okay, actually the water sources will be coming from Jabatan Bekalan Air, respective state, different, we have different company that actually ada, kalau macam di Selangor, kita ada POAS, kita ada Syabas, two company. So they will be actually supplying water. Okay, but again, coming back is the hassle lah. You have to queue, wait for the water tank to come to your apartment, and then you have to carry the water. Can you imagine doing that? Okay. So this is why this is not what I say as human sustainability. So how we are managing, actually we are strongly trying to actually create awareness. Okay, this is my dah banyak kali dah orang interview saya pasal water. Kalau klik nama Dr. Norhazlina dekat Google tu dia akan keluar. Dia orang interview saya banyak kali, tapi saya cakap water awareness. You create awareness first. Infrastructure mahal pun awareness tak ada, sama je. Betul tak? You bagi jam mahal kat budak kecil, kalau dia tak pandai pakai, rosak kan? Macam itulah. So the awareness is more important. So in Malaysia, macro level, kita tak boleh manage macro level dekat Malaysia ni sebab setiap state tu ada syarikat sendiri. So pada pandangan saya, setiap syarikat ikut negeri, increase your tariff, letak tarif peak hours harga lain, off peak harga lain kan. So people will actually appreciate water. So this is, Malaysia also looking for solution. We are not perfect. Okay, kita pun ada banyak distraction, kita pun ada banyak pollution, ada water issue. We wanted to create a resilience. Okay, that is our target. Okay, I hope that answer your two questions. Henry?
Thank you, Dr. Norhazlina.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Dr. Norhazlina. I think enough, very clear. Thank you, moderator.
Okay, thank you, Henry. We still have 10 minutes, so one question again, please.
One more. Okay, sure.
One more.
This one, eh?
Okay, thank you for moderator. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Raihan. I'm from Energy Security. So my question is, what's your perspective in the future about water resource management, especially from demand and supply side in Malaysia? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, I think I can actually go back to the graph that I show you. How does developed country and developing country actually manage? So basically, in the developing country is about supply management, and in the developed country is about demand supply. Okay, so there is a lot of example in other countries. Okay, we can actually learn from them. Actually, okay, in a lot of countries in Europe as well, they have gone through the same stage that we're going through: the water being polluted, the resources being scarcity, but eventually creating a civil society, a good community preparedness would actually solve a lot of problems. So, coming to Malaysian perspective, okay. Water demand is very high, okay, especially in urban area. We have industrial, okay, Malaysia is negara industri, yeah, okay. So water demand is very high, but we are talking about supply. How much, the big question in Malaysia that I usually ask is that how long we going to rely on recyclable water? So the issue actually not only about, doesn't only relate to the respective Ministry of Water, but also it goes to Ministry of Land, Ministry of Environment, because the land management will actually link to water management. Okay, I give you an example. The pure natural water supply come from hill area, betul? Kawasan tanah tinggi yang ada catchment kan. Dekat Raub tu masalah dia, di kawasan bukit tu dia potong buat Musang King punya plantation. They cut the trees, hundreds of acres, the sediment coming down to the logi got stuck, we got no water. Itu masalah dia. So, coming back in Malaysia ni sama je isu dia. So, the awareness among community ataupun among industri dan sebagainya when it comes to potong bukit ni, saya paling sensitif orang potong bukit ni. Kat Malaysia ni kalau saya nampak orang start buat construction, saya cakap alamak tanah sekangkang kera pun nak buat juga construction. Marah tau, because you don't understand the importance of preserving the hills, because when there is a hill, there is a water catchment. Maksudnya you ada natural water resources. If no, urban area will end up relying on recycled water. Tapi recycled water, okay, let's say kalau macam logi tu, tiba-tiba rosak, tiba-tiba kena pollute. Where do we go? Itu soalan yang paling besar lah. So kat Malaysia ni actually we are, bila dah tengok kena 12 kali kan, water destruction last year tu was tahun ni bila buat bajet semua orang buka mata, okay, kita nak buat apa? Kita nak betulkan infrastructure ke? I said no, you bagilah infrastructure paling modern kat dunia pun, tapi kalau dia masih tak ada awareness, so I suggested that law enforcement, the person who actually caused pollution, you find them, make them pay for the river cleanup. That was my suggestion. Okay.
Thank you.
Hope that answers your question, Fawaz.
Thank you, Madam. Thanks for the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Norhazlina.
Okay.
Is clearing up about all of question and answer. I think time is over. We still have 4 minutes. So let me read some conclusion. The water security is an emerging concept which has gained increasing attention over the past 5 years. Malaysia is rich in water resources, whose development has been the basis for the socio-economic development of the country over the past decades. However, water supply situation for the country has changed from the one of relative to the scarcity. Malaysia has been facing water scarcity with insufficient water resources for meet the increasing water demand, especially in urban and development area. The water management in Malaysia required a good and smooth coordination between the agency and ministry. The current development and exciting commitment to achieve sustainable of water resources in Malaysia to educate during the budget of shall the government needs more infrastructure for water security. Malaysia is the need of study and create to the community awareness. It can be concluded that water security should be considered and as a security threat, especially as the threat of the community and threaten the socio-economic and the local community. And then now we have come to the end of the meeting. Once again, I would like to give big appreciation to speaker, Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz Musa Kutty, for the wonderful presentation and material. And also I thank you for all participation for joining to this session. I really hope that we will meet again next time in better time and better condition. Thank you very much. And MC, please, time for yours.
Thank you for the moderator who guided the session well. Let us give a big round of applause to the moderator. To the moderator, you may be seated. To express our appreciation upon the speaker and moderator, the Defense Management Faculty is going to award certificate to the speaker and moderator. The Dean of Defense Management Faculty will award the certificate.
Okay. I'm Air Force Marshal Anton Santosa, Vice Dean of Defense Management Faculty of Indonesia Defense University. I would like to thank you to Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz Musa Kutty for your excellent presentation, and also Colonel Guntur for moderating these sessions. To express our gratitude upon the speaker and moderator decisions on behalf of the Faculty of Defense Management, we would like to award the certificate of appreciation to the speaker and moderator. First certificate awarded to speaker, Dr. Norhazlina Fairuz Musa Kutty. Let us give our round of applause to the Dr. Norhazlina. Please accept our certificate.
Thank you.
The second certificate is awarded to moderator, Colonel Guntur Eko Saputro.
Yes, sir.
Please accept our certificate and give applause to Colonel Guntur Eko Saputro.
Thank you, sir.
Again, thank you very much for the speaker, Dr. Norhazlina, and also moderator, Colonel Guntur, and also all the students and lecturer of two university for your participation in the sessions. Again, that's all for the session. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, see you tomorrow. Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jumpa lagi
Terima
esok.
kasih. Terima kasih Dr. Norhazlina.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's all together take a picture. We change the right hand of the chest. Follow me and say Salam Bela Negara. Salam Bela Negara. One more. Salam Bela Negara. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Once again, we would like to convey our appreciation to the speaker that has shared his truth and experience to all of us. May all the knowledge we have gathered be useful for our nation. Distinguished participants, all the agenda of this program session 2 with topic Natural Resources Management for Defense, Concept and Practice. Thank you for the time and attention given during the session. Thank you for all participants who have been actively participate during the session. On behalf of the organizer, we would like to apologize for all mistakes during the session. We want to remind all participants that the next agenda for tomorrow will begin at 9 o'clock. We do hope all participants to join 15 minutes before the session. We would also like to remind all of us to always implement health protocols by washing our hands, wearing our masks, and minding our distance. Let us close the session by saying Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore.
Selamat sore, jumpa esok. Insyaallah.
Thank you, Dr. Norhazlina. Again, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.